What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Check Swing Podcast with myself. Of course, the brains and brawn of the situation. My man Miguel, who's down in
Baltimore, having big fun.
absolutely, and we are back for yet another Wednesday. It is 8 o'clock. We welcome y'all in. We thank y'all for joining us. We got some things we want to cover for y'all. Some exciting things, some interesting things, and a realization that I think, Miguel, I'm personally having with my with of myself. And I'll get into that in a little bit. But before we get into that, of course, you know what I like to do? I like to ask my folks how they been. So Miguel,
Sir.
it's been a week. How you been?
Been pretty good. We got rained out of our first tournament, so we didn't get a chance to display our prowess, put it to the test. Mother Nature said, not yet, young lads. So we took a break. Had a good time with a personal friend of mine, my friend Kiki. So we were kikiing.
Kiki, do you love me?
Kiki.
I don't remember the words, but I tried.
Um, so yeah, just having a good time with good people. I'll put it that way.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Before we get into it, I don't do this much. Actually, I don't do it. I don't do it that often, and I really should do it more often. And I know she's not watching, but
You don't
maybe
know.
she might get a whiff of this. But I'm gonna give a shout out to my daughter Christian. Her boat won a national championship over the weekend down in Tennessee. The Scholastic National Champions for her boat. Um, they had they had four boats competing. Um, two boats won. One boat came in third, I believe, and another boat came in fourth. So they had a good showing at the Scholastic National Championships. And this is actually because I had to look it up because I wanted to know. This was actually like the legit school national championship. So it's not like at AAU they'll have like four or five national tournaments.
Right.
This was actually the one national championship. So it makes it even more impressive. Um, that they were able to do that, and now they're getting ready to go down to junior nationals, which is I think AAU, it's club down in Sarasota, Florida. So shout out to them, shout out to my daughter, shout out to her school. I don't know, I'm not going to mention the school and all that because I don't know what all I can and should put out there, but shout
They
out to
ain't
her.
paying you.
No, they're not paying me.
Is it a
But you
private
also
school?
yeah. Uh-huh.
Oh yeah, you
But you
definitely
also
ain't.
know like who's listening and who, you gotta be careful on the internet, especially when it comes to kids. So you gotta be careful on the internet. But shout out to them, national champions 2026. Shout out to them. Very proud of them. And I'm also a little jealous, Miguel, of the coaches. Right? And I'll tell you why. You and I have coached teams together that kids came in never playing the sport at all. Right? And we get them to as good as we can get them as long as they actually, if they're listening and following what we say, we get them to a certain point. My daughter and I know a lot of the other girls on the team came into the sport never participating in the sport at all, and this coach has elevated them to national champions. I think that's amazing. I think that's amazing. Could you imagine us elevating a team of guys that's never played baseball to national champions? They would make a movie out of us.
I think they would. Who
They
would
would make
play
a
us?
so like my easy answer would be Kevin Hart would play me. Right? That would be like my easy.
But
But
he's
I
too
don't know if he
dark.
can swing it back. I don't know if he can swing it back.
Well, here's the thing. Goodfellas, right? Do you know the part that Nikki plays? You know the mean, angry mobster guy kills everybody. But you
Right.
know, in real life, the dude was actually like 6'7".
Really?
So for the movies, I mean, we can, it can work.
We can get somebody else to play me. Wow, that's a tough one. Who would play? Can't be somebody necessarily pretty young, right?
Right.
I'm gonna go outside of the box here, but still in the box. I'm gonna go Martin Lawrence. I'm gonna say
Okay.
Martin Lawrence plays me. Who plays you?
I think I'm going to go with George Lopez, even though he's Mexican, but
I was gonna go with another person I believe is Mexican, John Leguizamo, who I think is a phenomenal actor.
he's. Have you ever seen his Broadway stage?
Some of it, I've seen
Because
some of it.
he did this thing on Netflix called Latino History for Dummies.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yep.
actually it's very very well done. He tells the whole story about Latin American history and you know between the kings and the queens, the slaves, and all that stuff. So
John Leguizamo is he's an extremely talented person.
he very is very much so.
Extremely talented person. He does not get the credit that he did. I mean, he came out, he was kind of introduced to us in the comedy way and with Mad TV, sketch show comedy. Played a role on Spawn. I don't remember what the role was, but I remember he was like the little clown penguin type. It wasn't a penguin, but penguin Batman villain type of thing. And then he's going on to play some serious roles too. So he's very, very talented. Very talented. So but yeah, shout out to them. National champions. Just wanted to put that out there. So, with that being said, I want to get to the realization of myself that I'm having. But in order to get to that, I have to say this first. The New York Knicks are back in the NBA Finals. They swept the Cleveland Cavaliers. They haven't lost a game since like sometime in April, I believe, something like that. Um, if I'm not mistaken, they haven't lost a game since like April or something like that, since the first round of playoffs. And they just been running roughshod over everybody. Tough team, right? On the western side of that, the Thunder and the Spurs are headed to Game 6. The Thunder beat the Spurs last night to take a 3 games to 2 lead. So if the Thunder wins tomorrow night, if the Thunder wins, if the Thunder win,
If the Thunder win, don't yeah, you got it. If the
okay, if
Thunder
the
win
Thunder,
tomorrow night,
win tomorrow night, they're headed to the NBA Finals.
what is that
If they do
called? Da,
not
da, da,
win,
da, da, da.
if they do not win, Game 7 with best two words in sports. Game 7. Now, the realization I'm having about myself in the midst of this, if the Thunder get to the finals to play the Knicks, Miguel, I'm rooting for the Knicks, and here's why. Here comes the realization. I think I'm becoming a get off my yard type of person. Let me explain. The Oklahoma City Thunder, which is a team that at one point I really liked when they had Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, and James Harden and all those guys, Kendrick Perkins, all that. It was a team that I liked. I thought they were a good team. I was hoping they stayed there. Blah blah blah. The Thunder won the championship last year, and they won it with a lot of young players. I don't know if they're the youngest team to ever win the finals, NBA Finals, but they're very young, and they're still very young. Not a whole lot of veteran leadership outside of the guys that are veterans on their teams, but they're all young, right? And I'm kind of like, you know what? The Knicks need to beat them just because they've been around a while, and they need to show these youngins what it really is. Now, you might say, well, the Spurs are kind of young too. Why wouldn't you root for the Spurs? I mean, for the Knicks over the Spurs? Because I'm not. I'm not. At one time, Miguel, I don't know if I've ever mentioned it on the show. I think I have. I was a big Spurs fan at one time in my life.
You did.
Big Spurs fan at one time in my life. Up until like Tim Duncan got there, and that's actually when they really got good. But Tim Duncan used to cook the North Carolina Tar Heels, so I was like, I can't root for dude. But I wouldn't mind seeing the Spurs win, especially beating the Knicks. But I'm on my get off of my lawn phase if they play the Thunder. Kind of embarrassed to say it, but it is what it is. Am I wrong for feeling that way?
I mean, it is the Knicks. I don't know that you can hate the Knicks like you can in other sports, like with the Mets or with the Cowboys. I don't think
Right.
they're
Yeah.
necessarily a hateable team.
Still don't like their fans.
Yeah, New York fans are horrible. They're absolutely terrible, terrible. And
But there's also the fact that don't forget, Miguel, these guys are the Nova Knicks. They got three Villanova guys on their team. Two of which I believe, if not all three right now, won a championship. I
mm.
don't know if Miles Bridges won the championship with them there. I'm not sure. But the
And
Nova Knicks can go ahead and beat the Thunder. I'm cool with that.
here's something, and I meant to put this in the notes, and I put it in our text message, but didn't put it in the notes. I'm gonna bring up hockey for about a minute, maybe a minute and a half, and I need to call it what it is. The Flyers are officially cursed. They are officially a cursed franchise. Back in the early 2010s, we had Jeff Carter, we had Patrick Sharp, we had Mike Richards. Mike Richards, unfortunately, took a had some off ice issues, and dealing with that. They all three were on the Flyers at one point. They were on that team that they beat the Bruins when they were down 3 games to nothing. Came back to win 4 games to 3. Went to the Stanley Cup and lost because we didn't have a goaltender. Hey, sounds familiar, doesn't it? All three players went to other teams. Patrick Sharp won 2 Stanley Cups with the Blackhawks. Richards and Carter won 2 Stanley Cups each with the Kings, and I think Carter won a third Stanley Cup a year ago. Here it is, 2026, and yet again it has happened. John Tortorella, who was the Tortorella, I always say Tortilla because I think it sounds like tortilla. John Tortorella, who was the Flyers coach for 3 or 4 years, is going to the Stanley Cup with the with the Vegas Golden Knights. Their coach was fired last part of the season. He comes in, and the team just tears it up. The last part of the season, they beat Colorado, and now they're in the Stanley Cup. They're in the freaking championship with the coach that we had. To add salt on the wound,
Flyers had last year, right?
what'd you say?
That was the coach the Flyers had last year, right?
Yeah, they fired him last year with 9 games remaining.
Yeah. Mhm.
Add salt to the fire. Their starting goaltender, who wasn't even allowed to play in the NHL until December, because that was the agreement they reached. Young goaltender with so much promise. He was going to be the next Bernie Parent. He was actually all going in that path. And then there was something that happened in junior hockey back in 2016-17. There was allegedly a gang rape. Everybody wound up being acquitted of everything. He was the only one that actually had to testify. Some very embarrassing testimony that he had to publicly admit to. But again, he was acquitted. And then the NHL had to bring him, they worked in a way to bring him back into the league. Carter Hart is their starting goaltender, and he played 18 games for them, went 11-3, and he's in the Stanley Cup. The Flyers have had coaches that I think one of Scott Ken Hitchcock, who won Stanley Cups before he came here, didn't win nothing, left and won a Stanley Cup. Rod Brindamore, former Flyer, legendary Flyer, is playing in the Eastern Conference Finals with Carolina, and they're in position to possibly go into the Stanley Cup. So it's like, at first I was all right. They got to get a goaltender. They finally get a goaltender. Then bad luck happens, and then back in the '80s, a goaltender died. Like I you had Eric Lindros, who was the greatest player on the planet for like 6 or 7 years. Can't stay on the ice, gets concussed. There's so many players that like their careers end here. Um,
Yeah, I wonder what Eric Lindros's quality of life is now. He had a lot of concussions. He had a
well,
lot of
it,
concussions with
well,
the
the biggest thing, he had the post cousin syndrome because I forget the story that Keith Jones always told about saving his life, but he was so angry with him at the time. He's like, I should have left him. But it was when he had a collapsed lung
Mhm.
because they were roommates, and Keith Jones was the one that found him in a pool of blood in the bathroom
Oh wow.
because he had a collapsed lung that he was playing through, but didn't recognize it because of the pain meds. And I think he actually developed like an ibuprofen addiction. It was insane.
Well, I will. I'll see your Flyers curse, and I'll raise you a Sixers curse.
Sixers are no. Sixers are not cursed. They're a horribly run,
Hold on, hold on,
embarrassing
hold on,
organization.
hold on. Because the same circumstances, not exactly the same, but the same circumstances can be said about the Sixers. Currently, the Sixers have two former players already in the NBA Finals. Okay. And part of this leads to what you say is them being a horrible organization. One would be Landry Shamet, a shooter for the Knicks. He was actually on the Sixers for, I don't know if he was traded when he was a rookie or not, but he was producing for the Sixers. He was part of the trade that brought in Tobias Harris from the
Mhm.
Clippers, which I don't know if you remember. I was not happy about it. I was not
You
happy.
you no you were because I think that trade happened while we were on, right before we came on the air the one time. You were not happy.
I was not happy about it. The other New York Knick, former Sixer, um, doggone it, Miles. I just said his name before the show. He played for Villanova. I can't think of his name now. I'm brain fart. But his Miles. I think his last name is Miles, or his first name is Miles. His last name is Miles. Anyway, he was drafted by the Sixers, also drafted by the Sixers, but traded on draft night. His mother even actually worked for the organization. He was traded for. I don't even remember the guy's name he was traded for at the time. In the moment right now, but the guy he was traded for is no longer in the league, and really didn't play that much with the Sixers. Okay, let's say the San Antonio Spurs make it. San Antonio Spurs have a young man with the last name Champagny. I think it's Brad Champagny. I forgot what his first name is, but it's Champagny.
Champagne.
He played for Washington. I want to say he played for Brooklyn, but I think he came into the league with the Sixers at a time when Doc Rivers was the coach. And Doc Rivers is notorious for not playing young guys. He didn't get his opportunity to really shine and like stick with a team and learn the system and all like that. And now he's a game away or 2 games away from the NBA Finals. And finally, I'll go to the the defending NBA champions, Oklahoma City Thunder, and a young man named Jared McCain, who was a rookie with the Sixers last year, showed a lot of promise. A lot of people excited about what Jared McCain would bring to the team. Daryl Morey, who's no longer with us, was fired a few weeks ago, traded him for like maybe a couple of draft picks or something. We didn't really get much in return. And in the press conference the next day, you know what Daryl Morey said about that trade? We sold high on him. Guess what? He has been a key contributor off the bench for the Oklahoma City Thunder in their run to getting back to the NBA Finals. And last night was the last yeah last night he started in place of somebody that was hurt. So call him cursed, call him terrible, whatever you want to call him. The road to the NBA Finals or the Stanley Cup obviously goes through Philadelphia. And we're not telling you got to beat Philadelphia to get there. All you got to do is be a member of the team and leave. You'll get to the finals. Ask Andre Iguodala. He'll tell you.
AI 2.0, baby.
He'll tell you.
What is it about? Because this is arguably what got Girardi canned. Because he did the same thing. He wouldn't play young players, and it wound up costing him his job. And then Topper came in and started, playing some of the young guys, and then, went on the World Series run. What is it about some coaches that just won't do that? Is it a trust thing?
My, my theory is that might be part of a trust thing. That might be some of it. Um, a lot of times when you hear about it, it seems like it is the manager or the coach is somebody that used to be a player. A lot of times when you hear that they're not playing younger guys, a lot of times it kind of lands that way. And maybe as a player, you didn't want to see the younger guys getting shine because younger guys maybe there's a jealousy thing. They could get good and take your spot, or they can mess everything up as a younger guy, stuff that you've worked for. And maybe you carry that on as a coach, and you're like, I can't play these younger guys. They're not ready. You just probably always see the younger guys as not ready. But you got to give guys a chance. You always got to give guys a chance. They're on your team for a reason. You got to give guys a chance. But that's my theory. It's either there might be a little bit of jealousy thing, and there might be a carryover from when you were a player of they're just not ready. But you
Because
never know.
I've always, to me, it always seems that coaches that seem to be a little bit more flexible in that, right, and they allow, because they don't realize, this is why I hate coaches that coach a system, because you need to have players to fit the system or it doesn't work. You have to really coach to the player.
Right.
And I know this is really old, but Dallas Green did that, which is with the Phillies in 1980, where you had what, the Secretary of Defense, you had Gary Maddox, you had Bake McBride, Mike Schmidt, Pete Rose, Manny Trio. Like, you had all these star players, but the problem was they weren't, a couple years before that, they were going to the playoffs and losing. And they didn't have, like, from what Dallas Green, who was a longtime Philly executive before he became a manager, um, he felt like it was a kind of a country club atmosphere. So he brought up some of the young guys. So at that time, I think you had Lonnie Smith, who was a rookie, Keith Moreland, who was a rookie. You had like all these young players that were literally competing for, their starting jobs. You had, a catching duo of Keith Moreland and Bob Boone, who was already won like 6 Gold Gloves at that point. He's actually competing for starting time. The only person that was the everyday player really was Pete Rose, because nobody was gonna, topple
No
Pete
matter,
Rose.
yeah.
But to bench,
Sometimes you got to do that as a coach to put a fire under your older guys.
right? And I think, but again, I think like some coaches, they're just so hell bent at, like you said, kind of being loyal, but to a fault,
Hmm.
and sticking to a system that when they look back on it never really worked. It's easier to coach because it's something that versus learning your players and learning what their strengths and weaknesses are and how to bring it to, you know what I mean?
Yeah. One coach that I know that was notorious for not playing like freshmen was um, former North Carolina basketball coach Dean Smith was
Mhm.
notorious for that. but he lucked out in playing a freshman named Michael Jordan, who hit the game-winning shot in the national championship to win the national championship. That kind of changed his tune a little bit from there. But when you what they call it, the coaching tree,
Mhm.
like guys that like Larry Brown was a North Carolina guy. He didn't like playing young guys. There's a couple other guys out there that they don't like playing young guys. You got to you got to play the young guys. That's why they're there. You got to play the young guys. Um, you were talking about the Phillies earlier. Let's talk about some Phillies now. At current Phillies, they just swept the Padres. Congratulations them. They just swept the Padres. Um, Shutout today. Shutout by Christopher Sanchez. 40 plus innings of shutout baseball by Christopher Sanchez. Sets a record for the Phillies. He's very close to a record for a left-handed pitcher. Um, he takes over Grover Cleveland, old Pete, what they used to call him. And I guess there's kind of a little something extra to it, a little bit, being as the Padres, Nick Castellanos plays for the Padres now. Nah, I don't know how much that mattered to them. I think they all like Castellanos to a point. Um,
Mr. Passive Aggressive.
yeah, but they swept the Padres. They really didn't do much against the Guardians over the weekend. Miguel, I need to ask you. You're the resident baseball expert. Are the Phillies a good team? I know what my answer is, but I need you to see if you sway me one way or the other.
Right now they are. And baseball again is always that tricky thing because you can literally baseball is probably the only sport where you can go through like a 10, even like a 15 game losing streak and still find a way to win and get into the playoffs and win. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
It's a very long season, too long in my opinion. I always say that. But one of the things I think we said or I said in the beginning of the season is going to be predicated on this bullpen. They stocked up on bullpen arms. They re-upped on Lazardo, so they look, they were very high on him, you know, once he stopped tipping his pitches and fixed that issue. But I'm pleasantly surprised that Sanchez. Every time I think, oh, he's already reached his peak, he's only getting better. I think he's going to do much better than Suarez. Um, Even we lost him in free agency because he's turning out to be the ace. You
Yeah,
know,
I feel like he was better than Suarez anyway.
right? But I don't know why in my mind I just felt like, all right, this is too good to be true, kind of sort of thing. It was kind of like the way I felt about Wheeler the first year that he was here. Like, all right, he's having a good year now, but just because of history and all that stuff. But and on top of that, you got Wheeler who has been, you know, almost returned to his old Cy Young self. So it's looking promising, I will say. In spite of Aaron Nola, and I know, he pitched a good couple games. Um, but the bats scare me still because they go on and off. So I feel like a broken record at this point. So I have to say it's inconclusive. I got to see what they do in September because that's
That's
where it
where
always that's where we always clunk out. I'm glad that Harper's hitting. He's hitting home runs, so he seems like he's starting to go back to his elite self. If that was a self-imposed challenge, um, Schwarber is Schwarbering, which is a good thing. But you know,
well, Marlon said good but not a contender. He said the bats will be their downfall. I'll put those comments in while you were talking.
Mhm.
I'm on the side of saying they are not a good team, at least right now. I
Mhm.
think they have good pitching. Excuse me. I think they have good players. I don't think they're a good team. Um, I agree with Marlon saying the bats will be their downfall because it's been their downfall the last 4 years. 3 or 4 years. The Bats let them down in the World Series, in which we know they were overmatched. The Bats let them down the next year in the playoffs, and every year in the playoffs after that, the Bats let them down. So I don't know why myself or anybody else would expect anything different to happen when you're bringing back the same team that, mind you, I think it was 22. They went to the World Series and they were good, and it seems like everybody that contends has gotten better from that point. I'm just taking them 2022 on. Everybody's gotten better, except for the Phillies. I can't really feel like the Phillies have gotten better. I don't know where they improved. They like you said, they brought in some bullpen arms, which sometimes some of the arms in the bullpen have been a little shaky this year. Outside of maybe Alvarado, Duran, I, I I haven't really had the confidence in the bullpen that I had in the very beginning of the year.
Right. Duran is has given up 0 runs in his last 11 appearances. So that's something to.
Hey, look here, man. Leave UNC out your mouth, man. Leave UNC out your mouth, man.
I'm
when
just
you
saying
when you
that's.
when you
So,
actually, if you're going to talk about UNC, make sure the Yankees and the Cowboys are not in the same sense.
but what? But that's the whole point. Like he only roots for. Like he's not even a homer. He just
I get it, but come on, man. UNC is decent. They just
and
they just
even
had
and
that
even
rough couple years.
I actually like USC because I always love their colors. I don't, and for Duke, I can't root for anything that's called the devil. I just can't do it.
I can understand that. Marlon says direct shot at Dombrowski, who did absolutely nothing to upgrade the offense. I'd agree with that.
Well,
But
here's the thing. Here's what he did do. If you want to call what he did, he did finally um, call up Justin Crawford, so he's not your everyday center fielder. He did go out and get Odalis Garcia, who is like a 95% upgrade on defense. Okay, I know he's struggling at the plate, but
struggling.
yeah,
I think
he
he's hitting like
he's
204.
huh?
I think he's hitting like 204 or something like that right now.
Yeah, he's over swinging. He's trying to do too much at the plate.
He can
He's
draw the hell
too
out of a walk though.
yeah, but he's on a low risk high reward contract anyway. So if it doesn't work out, it's not a big deal.
Mhm.
Um, but I think it's saving for something down the line once this whole collective bargaining um, agreement comes through. And I meant to actually post the MLB received their first offer for the collective bargaining agreement.
And it's never the first offer that gets taken. But back to Garcia. Garcia, he's been struggling at the plate. Definitely a upgrade defensively. Definitely an upgrade. But at the plate, we're still missing that right hand bat. Still missing it. And we are non-threatening from the right side of the plate at all. Even though last couple of days Trey Turner has gone yard. Went yard, I think, in the sixth inning to no eighth inning today, maybe seventh, eighth inning, something like that.
Mhm.
He went yard today. I believe Bryce went yard. Schwarber went yard. I think there's 3 home runs on the day, something like that. I could be wrong. I might be thinking about yesterday, but anyway. Um,
And we need to stop hitting short leadoff again. And it's the argument we always make because I and I said this in the text yesterday. I get the fact that okay, you want him to lead off so that way he's the bat in the ninth inning. But usually, percentage from what I see, when he's up in the ninth inning, there's nobody on base. What's the point of having a big bat if he's not bringing anybody in, and you're down 2 or 3 runs? You know what I mean? It never made sense to me. I remember watching
so
games growing up, and you had your leadoff hitter who took walks, stole bases, got on base, And in the ninth inning, he can still do the same thing and then set the table, as they say, for your big bopper. So it's like I hate
Yeah, I
him.
mean, so I'm not a big fan of your power bat leading off, right? But of course, here's my devil's advocate argument to that. It's only one time a game. For me, it's only one. You're leading off in the beginning of the game. All bets are off after that. To me, no, I'm not a fan of him leading off. I would rather him be hitting behind somebody, in front of somebody like Bryce. But Bryce, as we know, doesn't want to bat second. Um, After you get out of that, that first inning or whatever, that first time through the order, it really doesn't matter where you're hitting, in my opinion. And some people, think otherwise. But I, like I said, I don't like your power bat leading off the game. But I've leaned more toward, and even during our arguments about this or debates about this last season, I'm leaning a little bit more towards it being okay. Not liking it, but leaning a little bit more towards it being okay. Only because it's only the first at bat of the game. After that, all bets are off. You don't know where somebody's going to show up. Um, that being said, if nobody else is hitting the ball around him, it really don't make a difference where he bats. Ain't nobody going to be on base anyway. Um, Marlon said, unfortunately, Crawford is not enough. We need more contact hitting. We hit home runs, but they're usually solid shots. We need guys to get on base. Look at our on base percentage. Solo shots, you're saying. So, yeah, we don't get on base. We don't get a lot of guys on base, and a lot of times when we do get guys on base, it's with two outs, and we're just not producing offensively, just not producing offensively, and that's going to be the downfall because you're going to have to produce offensively in the playoffs because other playoff teams do. Okay. On a lighter note or on a more positive note, the Phillies are 19-8 since Mattingly took over. Positive. Um, and they are Duran has a 0 ERA in 11 appearances. That's also a good thing. And if we're getting to the point in the game where Duran is showing up, that's a good thing, guys. That means we're in a position to win the game. He's coming in to close the game. Um, with that being said, Miguel, All Star
So,
game is coming to Philadelphia.
mhm.
Any excitement about that for you? I realized something because the last All Star game in Philadelphia was 1995 or something like that,
96.
96. Okay, and it's been 30 years. 30 years, right? We got the new. I don't know exactly when we got the new stadium. But I'm gonna just say 2000. We got a new stadium in early 2000s, right? I just knew, like at some point, yeah, the Phillies are going to get the All Star game. Got the brand new stadium. We're going to get the All Star game, and it hasn't happened. You think MLB was waiting for the 250th birthday of the United States to have the All Star game in Philadelphia?
It makes sense. The first
Makes a
All
lot
Star,
of,
huh?
makes a lot of sense to me.
It does. The first All Star game in Philadelphia was 1976, which is what
The 100-year
Huh?
anniversary, or was it
200
150?
200th year anniversary of the country. So it was a big to do then.
Oh shoot, hold on. What is this 250? I'm sorry, I'm thinking we're at 250 now. I'm tripping. Don't
Yeah,
matter.
hello.
There's only one birthday I acknowledge on July 4th, so don't judge me, y'all.
That's right. You're 4th of July, baby.
I am. That's the only one I acknowledge on July 4th. I see you going back and forth with people on the chat. You're having a good time over there. But I'm going to put this one up because Marlon agrees with me. He said, I agree with Coach Justin. What we need is guys to get on base in front of him. The guy has 21 home runs with only 37 RBI. Yeah. Yeah.
I never thought I would ever see the day, and I can't remember who it was, where you could hit 40 home runs and not get 100 RBI. But that seems to be the norm.
That seems to be our Phillies. Because we
Yeah,
don't
and
we don't have guys to get on base. We got guys that hit home runs. We got a couple of guys that can steal some bases, but we just don't have guys to get on. We're not consistent at bat. And I don't know, Miguel. When the Phillies won the World Series in '08, that was my first time really seeing a championship team in Philadelphia that ended up winning a championship, and that was my blueprint. I've not seen a team like that in Philadelphia since. Now, like I said, it's the blueprint. That doesn't necessarily mean that that's how you have to play to win the championship, but that was my blueprint, and they were a consistent team all throughout the year. They weren't a worse the first team. There wasn't a team that got hot at the right time. They were a consistent team from day one to day 162, whatever you want to say. And they came and they won the World Series. Now I will say I kind of feel like they got a little fortunate in playing the Tampa Bay that year. But either way, they played who they played. They played the American League champions, and they beat them in 5 games. Was it 5 games or 4 games? I always get it confused because they had the one game that was split into 2 games. I always get that confused. I
Oh, it
think
was
it was
5 games.
I think it was
It was
four
five
games,
games.
4 games to one. So it's five
4 games to one. Yeah.
games. So those are the positive notes to take. 19-8 since Mattingly took over, and a zero RBA for Yohan Duran in 11 appearances this year. Also, a big story. You know what? It really hasn't been a big story, to be honest with you. We haven't really heard too much about it, but the Eagles are having their OTAs right now. Um, what everybody's waiting for is the June 1st trade. That's what everybody's waiting for. The June 1st trade. They AJ Brown got married. Nobody was invited to his wedding. Making a big deal out of that. I really don't care. I mean, it seems it is worth talking about in some places, but it is what it is. I don't feel like he's going to be an Eagle anymore. I really don't feel like there's the purpose of. I don't feel like there's a reason of putting a lot of energy into talking about him that much anymore, unless we get to June 15th and he's still on the Eagles roster.
I don't know, man. I'm still,
You're still holding on, huh?
I'm still holding on to this. Is just all, because you heard Jalen Hurts address it today, right?
I did not. What did he say?
So first he took a sip of his water because somebody asked the question. So what about the whole thing with the whole relationship thing? He took a sip of his water. He's like, I took a perfect time to take a sip, didn't I? So he kind of addressed his focus on learning the new offense under Mannion. But he said, I would hate to lose all the great things we did together. You know,
That's all he said about it. That
that's
was
all he
his
said.
take.
But I mean, like he's a QB, so he has to be like the diplomat or whatever.
Yeah.
The spokesman of the team, so he can't like say what he really wants to say if he wants to say it at all. But um, I don't whether AJ Brown stays or doesn't. I don't think it ends well for him. If he leaves, I should say. If he leaves, I don't think it ends well for him because when you look at all the disgruntled wide receivers, when they speak out or they are loud leaving, they go to a situation that on paper or by their preference is better, but they never win. You know what I mean?
Team.
Stefan Diggs left Minnesota kicking and screaming, threw his quarterback under the bus in Buffalo, and wound up in the situation he's at with whatever team he was with.
I know he was in Houston. Didn't he get released from Houston too? I
Or
don't.
and he was in New England, so he was. I mean, he was in the
Yeah,
Super Bowl,
it was in New England. Got released from New England, I believe, or
right?
got.
But you're a Super Bowl, wide receiver with you got there pretty much on the premise of your defense. Your quarterback is who he is. It wasn't a great Super Bowl.
Mm. I got. I just want to. I just want to put this in here because I feel like you may know this one. Champion Maker 06 says there have been three teams who hosted the All Star game who have gone on to win the World Series that same year. Can you name them? Hit none of the Phillies. Of course, you would put that in there. I'm gonna guess one is the Yankees.
Mm-hmm. 09. 09 and I believe 77. Yeah, that would make because they alternate the league. So I think they hosted the All Star game in 77.
Um, I couldn't name because I don't even remember who host the World Series by the time. I mean, who hosts All Star games by the time the All Star game's over. That's in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. Was it? I'm trying to think who was won World Series lately. You had the Dodgers won the last two. The Rangers before that. That was COVID year. No World Series. No, I'm wrong about that. I skipped about 5 years in there. Um, the Dodgers won the last two. Before that, I want to say it was the
I keep wanting to say the Dodgers, but they hosted in 1980, and that was the Phillies.
who won
But
it? Who won before the Dodgers? Was it the Astros? No, Astros beat the Phillies. They haven't been back since. Oh, no, that was the Yankees and Dodgers. Who won before the Dodgers? I'm trying to think because
it's either the Dodgers, Astros, because they kind of
who
alternated,
beat who beat
or Red
Arizona?
Sox, huh?
Red Sox beat Arizona.
Oh no, Texas. The Rangers won
That
their
was
first
the
World
Rangers.
Series.
Okay.
Yeah, the Rangers won their first World Series.
Oh, that was the Rangers Stadium during COVID that was being used for a World Series. That's what it was.
That was when the Dodgers won.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were using Texas.
Um, no, I can't name them champion.
I don't know the third. I don't know the other two.
But you're saying two of them were the Yankees?
Yeah, 77 and 2009. Because 2009 was when they were saying goodbye to
Old Yankee Stadium.
the old Yankee Stadium. But I don't. Who cares about the Yankees? Listen, at the end of the day, Joe DiMaggio beat his wife. Mickey Mantle was a stone cold alcoholic, and Babe Ruth was a hoe. So there you go.
So I forgot, and you know who that is. He said, I don't understand why Pittsburgh and New England are not punished for this draft. What did New England and Pittsburgh do? Are New England? I don't know.
I don't know. My brother likes to.
Likes to put them statements out there. Champion said 59 Dodgers. 59. Jeez, Christmas. There's no way I'd have got that one.
So who's the third team?
The Dodgers, 59.
Yeah, but he said three teams, so it's technically two teams that had All Star
So
games that won World
maybe he
Series.
meant three times in history instead of three teams. Maybe that's
Uh,
probably what he should have said. Because he did
uh,
say two are the Yankees.
well, he's a Cowboys fan, so he's susceptible to those mistakes.
um,
Ask your questions correctly, and then you get a correct answer.
and is that champion from last week?
That's champion's father.
It's his father. Okay. Oh, champion make. I love that name. I love that name. I love
Yeah. Bye
that name.
bye.
Okay, I love that name. Champion maker. Oh, I like
Yeah.
that. That's good. That's good.
What the other person was my brother was referring to was the tampering because
With
of the
AJ
whole
Brown?
with the AJ Brown with the head coach sleeping with the girl, the lady.
More so AJ Brown. Excuse me. Vrabel texting AJ Brown every day.
Right.
Yeah, I mean there probably should be something. Maybe I'm just kind of biased.
But there's also the issue going back to Julio Jones. Remember when he was the coach of Tennessee, and there was like a story that went out before when he was becoming a free agent, so he wound up having to sign for less to play in Tennessee. But yeah,
I feel like And this is me spitball. I feel like as a former player, Vrabel, I feel like he probably doesn't realize that there's stuff that you could do as a player that you can't do as a coach, and he probably still sees himself as a player, like under the player standard as opposed to under a coaching standard. Coaches ain't supposed to be texting. I mean, I don't even know if players are supposed to reach out to other players, but you have players on other players' podcasts during the season. So I don't see like a player to player is probably fine, but a coach to player it seems like it's a little seems like it's a problem. Champion Maker said 39 Yankees, 77 Yankees aren't the same team.
Where did the 39 Yankees come from? I said '09 Yankees.
You did say oh 09 Yankees.
And yes, they are different teams, but I will say this, and I've said this on the show when we even first started. The only Yankee that I have respect for, and that if I had to get a jersey, it's only one person I would get.
Jackson?
Reggie Jackson. Because he was a straw that stirred the drink. He was already a world champion 3 times before he even went to New York. They didn't win they didn't win until he came to New York, and they didn't win after they let him go. So he was the first person to come to New York, tell you that I'm the man, prove that he was the man, and shut everybody up. So he's the only person I would ever, only
I
Yankee
still
that
wouldn't get a Reggie Jackson Yankee jersey because the name isn't on the back. So at that point, it's just really a Yankee
Yeah, but
jersey.
everybody knows 44. Like I get what you're saying. I would actually get an Oakland A's jersey with the number 9.
That's what I would.
Preferably, I like the green. I would get the green and the gold. Because again, he won 3 straight World Series versus the 2.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and he's from Cheltenham.
From Cheltenham, and he's part Puerto Rican.
Hey,
Martinez Jackson.
Benaki.
He would be on my all Puerto Rico baseball team as the DH.
Okay.
And he would be my public relations because he had himself away with words.
So you have it's not a new segment. We've done this before, but you're bringing back a would you rather for us. And for those that may not know, would you rather is a staple in the 10-7 show, which will be back sooner or later. During cruise season, it's hit or miss for us. But you have a would you rather. So with a would you rather, we give you a situation or an option or ultimatum, whatever the case may be. And we say, what would you rather do? Would you rather do this one or would you rather do this one? And Miguel is going to give us one of those. But before he does, Marlon says AJ literally went on a podcast with Gronkowski and pressed the Patriots, and they asked him if he wanted to be a Patriot. AJ should be booed when he comes back.
Well, he was also booed after.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
He was also booed after that for making the 3 drops in the playoff game last year. So,
and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he grew up like a Patriots fan too.
Yeah, he was a big Patriots fan growing up. Yeah, absolutely.
So it is what it is, man.
I just don't understand the mentality of people like you have a good thing, but you choose to ruin it.
Yeah.
Because you think there's something.
It's always the wide receivers. It's always the wide receivers. Running back, you never hear running back. A tight end, a safety, a corner, maybe a corner, right? Maybe. But 9 times out of 10, it's a wide receiver. Jerry Rice never did that.
He was different. He was built.
Jerry Rice was getting fed the ball all crazy. Randy Moss never did it. He was getting fed all crazy. Marvin Harrison never did it. Michael Irving never did it.
Yeah, but he was on cocaine.
Either way. Whatever works. Give me another wide receiver. Buttons down in Baltimore. What's his name? Antonio Freeman. I don't remember him being.
No, but he wasn't really all that.
He wasn't, but I just wanted, Oh, he meant praised. He said he praised the. I said press. He praised the Patriots. He did on that podcast.
Well, I don't blame him for doing that because I mean, like you know what you were growing up, you know.
Right.
So
Right.
I don't get on him for that, but the whole, responding to the fact that you wouldn't mind playing for them is kind of different.
Champion Maker said if Caleb Downs was in my conference, I would want to leave too. They getting excited down there, right? They getting excited about anyway. Would you rather?
He keeps sending me the same video about some interception he had on a 2-on 3-on 2 practice where that's all they have to be excited about.
Let's see. I forgot says Eagles will win the Super Bowl without AJ. New England will fail this year with AJ. He will end up in Cincinnati. And Cincinnati still needs defense. They still got to figure out their defense situation.
You
And how
know what's funny?
Joe
Out of
Burrow.
everything that's being said tonight, none of it is confirming anything about the Cowboys winning anything. So that's the solace I get tonight.
I'm not even. I have no reason to talk about the Cowboys outside of Michael Irvin wasn't trying to get off the Cowboys. But the would you rather situation, what you got for us? Because
You don't
kind
do you don't have the thing the ting chong chong.
oh, you want the graphic with it?
Yeah, what the hell? Why not?
Okay, all right. Hold on.
No, no. I mean, I don't. Is that licensed to the other show? Will
Yes, I can do what I want.
will I was gonna say, will I get a nasty text, a cease and desist text from Tyra at like 2 a.m? You used our thing from our show.
Yes, but here you go. Yes, it is the would you rather portion of the show. Brought to you by
Well,
nobody. But if you want to sponsor it, you let us know.
with fee. Okay. Number one, sir. Would you rather never miss a game-winning shot in your life, but play terribly the rest of the game, or be an elite all-around player who always misses the game winner?
I'll take the always makes the game winning shot.
But
Because
play, but so with the caveat of playing terribly the rest of the game.
yeah, because hell, if I'm making a game winning shot, me playing terrible obviously doesn't make a difference because they're going to have me in the game at the end of the game.
So
And
you
you make
literally
that shot, people going to forget, oh, he played like crap the rest of the game, but he made that game winning shot though.
right, and that's what all the videos on YouTube are just going to show all the game-winning shots.
Yep. Until
Okay,
some hater comes around and shows all my turnovers.
yeah, you're not, but you're still going to make the league minimum, and you're probably amnestied after 5 years. All
What
right.
what what would you rather do? I think I swayed you. I think you were going to say
I was going to say it would be elite all around player because I don't know. I feel like in my mind, I'm kind of a team player, so like I wouldn't mind giving the game winner up to someone else if I can get us to that point.
Can I remind you that that was like LeBron's MO for like I don't know how many years of his career until
Which
Kobe
is
got
which is true,
and it
but how
got him
many?
for a while.
And it what?
It got him nowhere for a while.
Which is true. Then I just pay someone to help me to make the winning shot with the extra money that I'm making for being an all around good player.
Gotcha.
So
Yeah, you definitely make more money than I would.
right, right.
Definitely make more money.
All
I might,
right.
I might have more commercials.
You'll have more commercials. You'll definitely be on a lot more comedy skits. And you'll definitely have more social media followers than myself.
Now, I don't know about that.
I mean, because social media is all about like the big thing at the end. It's not all about like the little stuff, which I
But
would technically be better
if
at
you're
in
the
this
elite
scenario.
player, all the kids are gonna like you regardless.
Yeah, but you know how like there's always that like subgroup that wouldn't like me just because everybody else likes me. Is like, I'm gonna go. It's like with like Michael Jackson, him getting all the awards for Thriller, and then they literally snubbed him because they didn't want him to win all the stuff all the time. So I
Mm-hmm.
probably would get snubbed in some things.
Okay, all right.
So, all right. Would you rather win a gold medal in an obscure sport that no one talks about, like racing, curling, and or ventriloquism, or be a beloved bench warmer on a championship winning team in a major sport?
That's a tough one. I'm probably leaning towards the beloved bench warmer because, like, if you're winning in an obscure sport, right? Let's say you're winning a gold medal in what's an obscure sport?
Didn't I say it? Anal ventriloquism?
Equestrian. Let's say it's
Mm-hmm.
equestrian, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm a person that watches the Olympics. I watch every bit of the Olympics I can,
Mm-hmm.
right? I don't care. Like, I'm not watching equestrian this weekend, but I'll watch it during the Olympics. Okay, just because it's the Olympics. If I win a gold medal in equestrian, like I don't know what that would equate to life wise. But if I'm a bench player if I'm a beloved bench player on a championship team, not only am I a champion, but everybody loves me and they know who I am. I can't say I'm a gold medalist, but I can say I'm a champion. So I'm going to say the bench warmer on the championship team. What say you? And Champion Maker says Robert Ory or James Harden, maybe. Like that's for the last question. That's kind of what I kind of equated to the
Got
last
it.
question of the game making. I was thinking about Robert Ory actually
Mhm.
when you asked the question. Thinking about Robert Ory, where I actually put something on TikTok a while back. Whose career would you rather have, Charles Barkley's or Robert Ory? Robert Ory is like a 6, 7 time champion. Charles Barkley never won a championship. Whose career would you rather have? So that's kind of what I thought about. But for you, for the second question, what say you? Would you rather be the gold medalist or the beloved bench warmer?
I would go beloved bench warmer because I always think about like players on certain teams that I always remember, growing up. Like I always when I think of the Eagles' first Super Bowl, you know what I mean, you had like a lot of little guys, not necessarily in size, but as far as like fame and stuff like that. I mean, Nick Foles, right? Literally had 5 games in his career, and there's a statue of him in front of the link. You know what I mean? But whenever I think about that Super Bowl, I always think about the two big offensive plays. I think about the two Corey Clement plays. It
Mm-hmm.
was the one pass where, like, he kind of cuts down the middle of the field, and it looks like he's going for pay dirt. And I think it's set up for. I think that was a play that's set up for Philly, if I'm not mistaken. I could have that wrong. And then, of course, the touchdown that he caught in between two defenders that was perfectly placed. I always think about that. Technically, it probably shouldn't have been the catch based on the rules at the time, but they were already starting to change the rules on the catch when the ball moves and da 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 da. And even on the voice of the YouTube joint on that, the mic, the hot mics and whatnot, even the referee was like, yeah, it moved a little bit, but he secured it, touchdown. So I always think about like that, and I not that Corey Clement was like literally beloved, but I think people always will remember him for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but
they won't remember him for actually going and playing for Dallas.
I forgot about that. All right, forget everything I just
See,
said.
see, that's what I'm saying. See, people
Yeah,
don't remember that.
forget everything I just said. Well,
Nothing was accomplished in Dallas.
right. So Dallas don't count. That's
Exactly.
a little bit. Okay. Would you rather play for your absolute least favorite team on a massive contract,
Oh,
or play
no.
for your favorite team for the league minimum? By the way, the league minimum in baseball right now is $780,000, which in the new CBA offer, they are willing to move up to 2 million. I'm sorry, $1.5 million, 1.5 million.
So, how much is the minimum in basketball and football and hockey?
Basketball is probably 12 million. I'm joking, but I want to. What is the league? Well,
Basketball might be 1 or 2 million
right.
because I
Hockey's
feel like
probably the lowest.
the veteran minimum and there's the like.
Right.
It might be
There's
like
the league minimum and the veteran minimum, and I think basketball would probably you'd probably make the highest in basketball. Second would probably be baseball. Third would be football, and hockey, I believe, is last.
okay. So here's how I'm going to answer this question. I'm going to answer it by the sport.
What?
I'm going to answer it by the sport because I could do it in some sports, but some sports I
No,
cannot.
no, no, no. Let's make
No,
this even.
so here's what I want you to do. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to go. I want you to name the sport, and I'll tell you whether I can or I can't,
Okay,
or I'll tell you which one I'd rather do depending on the sport.
got it. Okay,
Okay.
let's start with basketball.
Yes, I would play for the what is the hated team
The
for a
least
big.
your absolute least favorite team on a massive contract.
Yep.
Okay,
Yes. That's what I would play.
hockey.
Hockey. So that would be like what the Rangers, Devils, or something like that.
Rangers, Devils, Pittsburgh, Penguins.
No, no. Give me the Flyers.
Got it. Football.
No, absolutely not. Give me the Eagles. Absolutely not.
And of course, beloved baseball. Because I have a feeling I know what you're
It
going to
would,
say
it would
about
be
my
the Mets. It would be the Mets.
the Mets and your Braves. Because remember, we all know you're an open.
I always forget that the Braves are a rival because when I was a fan, the Braves were not a rival. Um, Braves, absolutely, I'd do it. Mets. See, here's the thing about playing for the Mets, right?
Answer the question, sir.
Hold on, I'm going to answer, but I gotta come on now. It's not just playing for the Mets; it's playing in Queens at that stadium. Like
What's wrong with Queens? Is a fine little town in New
I
York.
would rather play for the Yankees
Ew.
under the league under for a big contract than play for the Mets under a big contract. Like the Mets are the step sister or the with the little what is it? I don't know how the saying goes, but the Mets for ultimate contract. I'll do Braves. Yeah, baseball. Give me the ultimate contract in baseball because the ultimate contract in baseball is crazy. Give me the ultimate contract.
Even
There's
if
no,
it's with the Mets or the
there's no
Braves,
salary.
you're gonna be the Mets are the used toilet paper of New York.
That's what I was just saying. That's what I was trying to say when I said in Queens in that stadium. That's what I was trying to say. But you're going to have to pay me to do it. Now, I cannot play for the Cowboys. Now I'm lying because if I were good enough and they offer, I'd be there. But I cannot play for the Cowboys. I cannot play for the Giants. Who else is there?
You literally didn't follow any part of your thing.
No, well, here's the thing. So if you had said a specific sport, I would have just answered it that way. But when you mentioned baseball and the contract and baseball, then I started thinking about the other sports. Like there's more money
Okay.
in the
All right.
sports.
Let's go with the original intent of the question. Any
Okay.
sport. Okay. Any sport. Would you rather play for your absolute least favorite team on a master contract or for your favorite team for the league minimum? All the sports.
Show me the money. Show me the money.
Sound like Cat Williams right now.
Sure. And anybody, let me tell you this. Let me
Huh?
tell you that I'm going to say this, and I'm going to offend anybody. Anybody that offend, I don't care that I offend you by saying this. Anybody that wouldn't take the money is a fool. It's sports. It's fandom. You're talking about livelihood here. Show me the money. I don't want to play for the Cowboys though.
All right. This is a specific sport that neither one of us would ever even qualify for. Would you rather possess Usain Bolt's top speed but have below average endurance, or possess marathon level endurance but be unable to run faster than a brisk jog?
That's a tough one because Usain Bolt, he runs for 10 seconds less. The 200 is more of a endurance run than the 100 is. It's not that much of an endurance run, but I know when I ran into, I struggled with the 200. I really struggled running the 200. Um, would I rather have the endurance of a marathon runner? First of all, I ain't running no marathons. I'm gonna just put it to you. I don't have the attention span to run a marathon. I don't. Shout out to everybody that does. I don't have the attention span to
So
do
you
that.
see a squirrel while you're jogging, you're like, "Oh my god, nuts!"
I probably don't say that, but yes, I'm easily distracted. I'm running. I'm running by. That's the marathon run, and I look. Hey, I wonder what they eating over there. I don't know. Then I trip. Oh. Once you trip, and mess up the rhythm. It's a wrap. It's a wrap. So give me in Usain Bolt's speed without the endurance, and I just hope I can run 100 and 200 meters.
I would do
What
the
are,
marathon.
what are you? You doing a
I,
marathon?
I would do the marathon because I hate running. I was an offensive lineman and a catcher. We don't run.
Yeah, but why would you do a marathon if you hate running? That's a whole lot of running.
But it's a brisk. I don't have to go faster than a brisk jog.
Oh, okay. Okay. A jog is not a run.
There you go.
Real quick, I'm going to put these couple comments in there. Marlon let us know that the basketball minimum is 1.2 million. So I'll make the what's it called, the max contract wherever I go. I don't know if I have like the Sixers haven't been good enough to have a lot of rivals. I guess the main rival is the Celtics, and I would absolutely despise playing for the Celtics, but you're gonna have to pay me that money. Shamby said every time you guys say Dallas, the FCC beeps out the rest of your statement. I hear is Dallas beep, Michael Irvin beep. Oh, good. I'm glad. Keeps me out of trouble. Champion also said I would play for the Eagles and get you the Super Bowl, but then fumble the ball on the game-winning drive. Yeah, don't come back to Philly when you do that. Don't do that. Don't come back to Philadelphia when that happens. When you do that, champion maker. And he says, "Give me the speed, and I could return punts." But you're gonna get tired after like 20 yards.
Pretty much. All
But yeah,
right.
that speed. Yeah, I would love to return punts and kickoffs with that speed. What? Just hope nobody, gets an angle on me. I'm out. Pew. That's the fastest you can run, right? Pew.
All right, I'll give you one more. This
Oh,
one's
yeah,
deep.
another? Okay, let's do it.
One more. It's deep. Would you rather know the exact outcome of every game before it's played, meaning you never can experience the thrill of a surprise, or Lose all memory of your favorite team's greatest championship so you can experience watching it for the first time again.
Oh, that one. That second one.
Okay.
For sure. Like I could experience that glee
Mhm.
every time I watched it. Like I don't know what. What was the first one that I don't want?
To know the exact outcome of
Yeah.
every game before it's
No.
played.
No,
Okay.
because what's the point of watching?
Right.
That's like, when you're like, when we were coaching on weekends
Mhm.
and you try not to hear the game score or anything about the game until you get home so you can watch the game and see it for the first time.
Mhm.
Once you hear, like I would always make the mistake of having my radio on and I would hear the game as it's going on and I couldn't turn away from it because now I need to know.
Right.
And it would be no point in, I had no reason to watch it after that.
I got you.
So no, give me the loss of a memory so I can so I can feel like my team won the championship over and over again. Because I know
Mhm.
Dallas Cowboy fans would love to do that after they fix the V hold on their VCR to see the championship. V
Do you
hold. Only old heads know what that is.
and for Gen Z, that's not a new venereal disease. Um, do you
Dummy.
do you have on the because I've been doing this ever since the Eagles won the first Super Bowl. Like I rewatched that game before the next Super Bowl, like either the day before or the day of.
So you know what's crazy? I always thought that Eagles winning the Super Bowl, I would want to watch it all the time. I don't think I've watched either one of them again one time. I might have watched the first one again. No, I know I watched the first one again a few times. The second one, I don't think I watched. The second one was like, to me, the second one was more like, all right, it happened and it was a blow. Like it wasn't even worth rewatching to me because it
Oh my!
wasn't.
Are you crazy?
Hold on, hear me out. Hear me
What?
out. It wasn't a good game.
What?
It was
To
a good
see
game.
to see
Hold on,
to,
hold on, hold on,
to
hold on. Because
see
I
hold on.
see where you're going. But hold on.
What?
I said, okay, so let me was this past Super Bowl a good game?
No.
Was the Super Bowl what the Eagles lost to the Chiefs? Was that a good game?
Yeah, that was a good game.
Was the Super Bowl when the Eagles lost to the Patriots a good game?
No.
You don't think that was a good game?
The one that the Eagles lost to the Patriots?
Yeah. In
No, it was
04 or
hard
05, whatever it was.
because McNabb I said McNabb had 3 picks and he fumbled
I didn't say that the Eagles play a good game. I'm just saying, was the game a good game? It was a
actually it
3
was I, I don't remember it being a good game. It was kind of sloppy and I know the Eagles had a chance to come back and then there was the throw up in the huddle if that ever happened.
Yeah, I remember it being a good game. The blowouts, it I saw that. The blowouts in Super Bowls are not good games to me.
But
As I enjoyed it in the moment, I very much enjoyed it in the moment because it was my team. But it wasn't a good game. It wasn't competitive. The Eagles blew them out. Like, yes, I would watch it just for the fact that to see them dominate, but they blew them. It wasn't a good game. Let's go back to I'm hoping I remember this correctly. 49ers and either Bengals or Broncos.
the 55-10 game.
Was that a good game?
So
No.
it was good from the
55
standpoint.
10 is not a good game. I'm just
55
telling
10 is not a good game, but you're watching history. You're watching the greatest quarterback who never lost a Super Bowl.
That's not the question. If you're watching, every Super Bowl is history. Every single one.
Not every one of them. That the Patriots versus the Rams was a crap. The Patriots versus the Rams was a crap show.
That was a terrible game. But every Super Bowl is historic. It's a history.
But that Super Bowl was not historic. I don't care what you say.
That Super Bowl was terrible.
And right.
I think there was like it was like rainy weather before that. It was a terrible game. And on top of the fact that it was the year after it was the year after
It
the
was
Eagles won.
right.
So in the Eagles fans' mind, it's like my team could have did better than this. I ain't watching this crap. I remember not. Well, I remember stop watching that Super Bowl to do something else. Maybe I was playing video games. I don't remember what I was doing. But I say all that to say that the Eagles win over the Patriots was a good game. It was a competitive game. It came down to the last play of the game. The Eagles' loss to the Chiefs was a good game. It was a competitive game. Came down to the last play. It was a good game. The Eagles win. Great for Eagles fans, but it wasn't a good game. Eagles blew them out. The game was over by third quarter. It wasn't a good game. It was a blowout game that excited us and made us extremely happy. It wasn't a good game. If you were not an Eagles fan, you would not think that was a good game. If you were a Cleveland Browns fan, you would not think that was a good game.
You don't think because most of America was actually rooting against the Chiefs? And here's the thing, because but see what qualifies a bad game? A whole bunch of turnovers, a lot of penalties. Like what
For me, a
qualifies?
bad game is a game that's not competitive. I mean, I guess it's kind of that simple for me. If it's not competitive, it's not a good game to me. And that's in any sport. Like if it's a baseball game that is 16-0, that's not a good game.
Right.
That's a blowout. Basketball game, them Sixers losses when they were getting blown out, those weren't good games.
Yeah, but we expect bad law. We expect terrible games from the
When the
Sixers.
Knicks when the Knicks blew out the Cavs the other night, that
Mm.
wasn't a good game. Not a good game.
So
Got,
these
got huh?
go ahead.
No, I just got a couple comments to go to. I was going to let you say what you guys say real quick.
No, you can go with the comments.
So Leslie says, experience the glee for personal happiness. I'd want to know if I could bet and win big. That was the one thing I thought about when
Ah,
the outcome.
yes,
I was thinking about I can bet it. If I already know I can bet it, but I was like, he didn't say.
yeah.
I won't put that in there. Marlon said, we'd all be dead before Dallas wins another championship. I was going to say, I hope not, but maybe that just means like they didn't win another championship for like 100 years. Right? So that's fine by me. Um, Let me see. Marlon said, Coach, which champs do you think was better? The 2017 or 2025? Which championship do you think was better?
I would say
I'm
20.
Go ahead. I
I
think you're
would
gonna
say
say this.
25 because you had more of the complete team. 17 was an injury filled team. So that was literally. I'm not going to use the word luck because it wasn't luck, but there was something about that team that was like otherworldly. You lost Darren Sproles, you lost Jason Peters, you lose Carson Wentz, who was having an MVP season. Like you lose all these major parts, but you still win.
Mhm.
So that was like the next step up, the next man up. That was a special team. It's a very, very special team. And the first team is always special in your heart.
Absolutely.
The 25 team, complete dominance, best running back in the game, arguably, you know, Hurts top 10 QB, Brown playing, out of his mind. But the defense was more complete because the Super Bowl, I think in 17 or 18 was we gave it what like 900 yards passing to Brady and still won.
We gave up like a record number of passing yards or something.
Right.
Yeah.
But and that's what I wanted it to be a blowout because I got tired of like the nail biting of, trying to win and still recovering from the Eagles' first loss to the Patriots. So Eagles gave me both things. They gave me the I don't know where underdog will to win, underdog win, and then they gave me the blowout win. So if God takes me today, I'm happy.
I'm gonna say the 2025 one was better. Like you said, Miguel, 2017, the first one is always special, right? Your first whatever is always special. First Super Bowl was special. The 2025 Super Bowl was you knew you had a good team. You knew you could compete with this team. You just lost to this team 2 years ago. And they blew out a team looking for the three-peat. They blew them out. So for me, that was a little bit better because the story going in was all about the Chiefs, the Chiefs, the Chiefs, the Chiefs, the Chiefs. Right? Just like before it was all about Tom Brady and all like that. But they were already a dynasty. The Chiefs were trying to accomplish something that has never been done. And the Eagles were able to stop that from happening. So not only did they win a championship, they may have slayed the dynasty because we know that team. We know Patrick Mahomes knee injury. We don't know when he's going to play this year. If he's going to be ready for the beginning of the year or not. Travis Kelsey's getting older. Contemplate retirement sooner or later. The team is just getting older, so you just got to see. Uh, Leslie said I've watched them both over 3 times. Shout out to Leslie, a big Eagles fan.
Leslie.
I don't blame you. Chamber says top 2 worst Super Bowls were 18 and 25. Just saying, Justin is right. Justin did not say that the top 2 worst Super Bowls were 18 and 25. So I don't know where you got that from. I just said they were not. I said 25 was not a good game. I said 18 was. I did say 18 was a good game. It was a competitive game. I said 25 was not a good competitive game. All right. You can say I'm right, but you got to quote me correctly. All right. Champion also said that what about the Eagles' third Super Bowl win? Was that a good game? Here you go. This third Super Bowl win. Ask me again in a year. Like what I did there. Um and I like what you did here. Eagles are going for their 6th chip this year. Six. Six championship. Absolutely. And he said Dak will leave Dallas and win a chip for his new team. I hope it's not against the Eagles. I'll tell you that. I don't care who he wins with. Just don't want it to be against the Eagles. Oh Lord, now here we go. He said, okay, here we go. Y'all can tackle that off air. Y'all can tackle that off air. Um, he said, I said Super Bowls, not championships.
Isn't the
We
Super
do
Bowl a
know that the Super Bowl is just the name of the championship match. Like we do know that, right?
It's
Like
the
you do know the Super
same.
Bowl is the same thing as the
So
NFL championship, just with a different name.
this is the argument I have with champion blooper here. So he says that if it's not a Super Bowl, it's not a championship, right? He pretty much doesn't recognize Jim Brown and his successes,
They didn't win any championships before it was a Super Bowl.
right? So it doesn't matter. So my argument, my counter to that is like, all right, you can't count any World Series prior to 1947. 1947 was the year that blacks were allowed to play Major League Baseball. Babe Ruth and Joe DiMaggio were winning against Crispy Cracker and Whitey Willoughby. You know what I mean? Like they didn't face the best. I don't care what anybody says. And Babe Ruth and Joe DiMaggio admitted publicly that they faced the best people that they faced were people of color. So you can't, to me, you can't count any championship past 1947 when you didn't have all of the best players on the planet playing each other. So the Yankees didn't exist to me till 1947 with his statement.
Okay. All right. I can't argue with that.
So
So he says false. The AFC and NFC championships are what you are talking about, not Super Bowls. So
he's talking about before the merger because they were
right.
technically like the ABA and the NBA.
So let me go ahead and let me um let me touch on this real quick. So before the merger, it was actually called the NFL Championship, not the NFC Championship or the AFC Championship. It was the NFL Championship. Guess what? The league today that plays football here that has the Super Bowl? It's the NFL. Guess what else? The Super Bowl is the NFL championship. There's no other league that can say that they're the NFL championship. So to go back to what I said, champion maker '06, the Super Bowl is just a name. The championship is the championship. If they stop calling it a World Series and start calling it something else, does that mean everybody that won a World Series prior to them changing the name is no longer a World Series champion? Are teams that won before the merger not champions? Champion? I'm just saying. But champion goes on to say, Santa, count it any way you want to. The Yankees still have the most. So do the Celtics. So what?
And the Yankees were also the last team to integrate, so that's what their opinion of.
But
So technically,
here's my question to champion, and I'm going to step out. I'm going to bow out of the conversation of this. I'm assuming champion maker '06 is a Yankee fan. How many of those championships did you see? I'm just curious because I don't know how old you are. How many of those? How many they got? 20 what? How many championships they got?
28.
How many of those 28 championships were you alive to see? Champion maker '06. Just curious. Just curious. And I'll leave it at that. And you can answer when you want.
Champion maker from Maryland, not New York.
Yes, from Maryland. From Maryland. Um, I think we're gonna get up out of here. We got any last words, Miguel? We've been at this for quite a bit today. I want to thank everybody.
All I got left is go Birds and Dallas sucks.
All right, hold. I'm sorry. So now he brought me back into this. False. The AFC Championship is the NFL Championship, and he said he's 52. I wasn't asking you how old you are. Maybe I did say that. I didn't mean to ask you how old you are.
You
I
did.
just want to know how many championships, Yankee championships, you've seen. That's all. That's all I'm wondering. So false. The AFC Championship is the NFL Championship. I'm gonna leave it alone. I'm gonna leave it alone because we gotta get up out of here. I can tackle that next week. Miguel, what were you saying? You said all you got is what?
Hold on.
Come on now.
Cowboys fans, the Cowboys are like a broken VCR. They always talk about tape from the 90s.
Yeah.
And they're the only fans that can live in the past and the future at the same time.
How about it? How about it? What were your last words for us, Miguel? Come on now. Yeah, I saw it too.
uh my final words. Um be good to one another. And if you see a Cowboys fan walking down the street, just give him the finger. I don't know.
Well, with that being said, we're gonna get up out of here. We appreciate y'all hanging with us here on the Check Swing Podcast, as you do on a weekly basis. We absolutely love everybody that interacts with us, man. We love y'all. We enjoy it. Please keep it coming, even if you're a Cowboys fan, a Duke fan. We don't care. Keep it coming, please. We have fun with it, man. It's fun. We all family. But we're gonna get up out of here. For myself and for Miguel, who is down in
Baltimore, having big fun.
we are going to get up out of here. We will talk to you next week right here on the Check Swing Podcast. And I think that's it. Right? That's it. Talk to y'all next week. Peace.
Until we meet again.